Hi, gorgeous seekers, and welcome to our moon magic for the new moon in Taurus happening on May 11th, 2021. This moon, I think, is so beautiful, so powerful, so much about the truth we bring to our daydreams. This has been a theme that's been coming up time and again since Taurus season started. And this new moon really highlights it. We often think of, I think, both like Venusian ruled energy like Taurus as maybe a little bit superficial. And we think of daydreaming as superficial because we've been taught to think of these things in that way, that they're a waste of time. That if you're not just crushing it in the world and moving fast and desiring and wanting more and more and more, then you're missing a step. Well, this new moon is going to bring us back to some deeper truths about how we daydream really matters. Are we listening to our soul song when we daydream? And how we can get closer to doing just that. And it's a liberating new moon. You know, new moons are so often about the seeds we are planting in the darkness, the seeds we are planting in the soil, in the hidden, behind the scenes. Not about the illumination out toward everybody else, but what is going on in our deepest, truest self inside. This new moon, so we have moon and sun conjunct at 21 degrees of Taurus, and they are almost exactly conjunct with Lilith, the dark moon Lilith at 22 degrees of Taurus. I don't talk about Lilith a lot. She is there, and she is a very important archetype because she is about the liberated being who did not want to just play the role she was told she was supposed to play. And so whenever we have Lilith energy here, we are going to be questioning what we take for granted as what we need to wish for, dream about, enjoy in life. And that seems really obvious, right? At first, you might say, I know what I like and what I don't like. I know what I'm dreaming of and what I am not dreaming of, and I can tell you the difference. But here's where it gets a little sneaky. There are certain things we wish for, that we keep on our vision board, that we keep in our journals, that we keep on our list, that we don't actually want. But because it's been so ingrained in us that we need to wish for it, whatever that is, for each of us it's going to be different. For some of us it's going to be beauty standards. For some of us it's going to be career goals. For some of us it's going to be an acquiring of an asset that we don't actually want, but we've been told we should want it so often that it feels as though we want it. And not only that, but I think this new moon is also about letting ourselves daydream about the simple things that we forget to even include on our list because we think we're not worthy of it, or it's outside of what we consider a part of our envisioning of our lives, whether that be peace, whether that be feeling safe in our own bodies, whether that be, finding a way to make more space and feel comfortable in that space. Once again, it's going to be different for every single person. This is a review moon for what we assume we really want and for opening ourselves up to really notice what it is we truly, truly want. And generally speaking, we have a lot of things on our list that we say we want that have to do with things, with beauty standards, with body size, with youth, with success, with money, with items that I'm not saying it's wrong to want those things. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I am saying that they may not be the thing your soul is really crying out for. And once again, going to be different for every single person. What that looks like, what those things are, what those almost pre-filled in things are that don't speak to us at a true level. So Sun, Moon, Lilith conjunct new moon is going to be a really honest moon, integrity within yourself. And like the Scorpio full moon we just had, this isn't about other people and you wanting other people to understand you or you needing other people to acknowledge that you're okay. This is about a deep conversation within ourselves about if we feel okay or not, if we feel safe with ourselves or not, if we feel that we can love ourselves as we are or not. And it's also a rebellious new moon because Lilith is a rebellious energy. And it's an energy that challenges things like cultural beauty standards, that say these strange list of assets, these strange list of physical features are what make you worthy or not. And that strange list of physical features changes every couple of years. It morphs. It asks us to be 10 different things at once. That's just an example, right? It's a time to rebel against that within ourselves, to question it, to bring it fully into deep questioning. And it's not just beauty standards. It can also be career standards. It can also be lifestyle standards. It can also be creativity standards. It can be worthiness and how you think you need to be in a social situation, the standards you have for yourself about how you have to be a chameleon in order to entertain everybody in the room, or in order to be polite to everybody in the room, or in order to feel like you fit in. There are so many areas you might find your own inner rebel coming up. And once again, this is a dialogue to have within yourself. This isn't about being pissed off at other people for making you a certain way or pissed off at a culture for making you a certain way. This is about, are you letting yourself be yourself, right? Because that's the real guard. That's the real keeper, the part of ourselves that wants to keep us in line inside of ourselves is the one that we're going to want to be having this dialogue with. This moon is also really empowering. We have Neptune sextiling this moon over in Pisces, which is really gorgeous. It's very dreamy. It's a very dreamy energy to have, like this new moon and Neptune dreaming up the most beautiful things. And then we also have Pluto loosely trining this new moon. And Pluto is a transformational energy, and he has just recently gone into retrograde as we hit into this new moon. And Pluto asks us how we want to do things differently. We can't repeat the same thing over and over and over again and expect different results, right? So Pluto's here along with Lilith, trining along with Lilith here to really ask us how we want to change the way we talk to ourselves, how we want to change the way we categorize our desires and our wishes, and to really question our obsession with a cultural obsession with youth, with high energy, with competitiveness, with things like success, external success, with these strange, beauty filter, beauty standards, with body size, all of those things. We can transform beyond that. And I just recently did a post on Instagram about when we're sitting and we're daydreaming about life, really allowing ourselves, I think these aspects and these conversations is what it's really about. We can get really pissed off and rebel against everything that we feel has imprisoned us and be really ready to throw it and get a little, 80s punk band and say, like, let's take down the constructs that are keeping us tied, right? Like, that's great. But I actually want us to focus more for this new moon on our imaginings and on really getting brave and vulnerable enough to ask for what it is that we really want, which isn't necessarily about bigger things. It's about quieter, truer things that feed our souls. And it's about taking our focus away from the things we may be wishing for, like we want to look a certain way or we want to fit in socially a certain way. And we want to make ourselves chameleons to fit in a certain way and take our focus off of that so much and put our focus on the creative nurturance, on the curiosity about who we are beyond those markers of identity, and to explore and imagine what it would feel like if we just let all of that tension go in our bodies and we just showed up and relaxed into who we truly are. It makes me think about that movie Office Space. I know at least some of you have seen this movie. It was from the late 90s, I think, 99, 2000. I think. And the whole premise is the main character is working in this soul-crushing tech company in like the suburbs of Austin, Texas, which is where a lot of tech companies are. And this is back, in the late 90s, early 2000s, in a little cubicle doing his thing, fitting in, trying to fit in, miserable. And he accidentally gets hypnotized into letting go of caring about all of it. And he suddenly is just taking down the walls of his cubicles. He's saying what he actually thinks. He's not doing things he doesn't feel like doing. And funnily enough, because he's doing that and being in so much authenticity, in such a calm, relaxed way, because that's the thing. It's not about rebelling. It's not about being pissed off at other people. It's about accessing our inner calm. People want to be around him more. He's more successful. He's more enticing. People are more curious about him. And I just think about the sense of relaxation when we stop holding ourselves so rigidly. And that's where I want our imaginations to go. Let's pull a card for this. Such an intriguing Taurus season in general, I'm finding already as I sit here with this. And by the time we get to this new moon, I think there's so much release and healing going on right now, and I'm really, really grateful for that. Knight of Cups. Now that is a dreamer if I've ever seen a dreamer. Knight of Cups to me is like the ultimate romantic, right? Like, and of course, when you're doing a reading, you could say like Knight of Cups can be kind of up in the clouds, not really thinking about the challenges or why something might be hard or why something needs to be cared for or tended to. But Knight of Cups stops looking at all the things that feel soul crushing and focuses on what he finds to be really truly beautiful. And what is true beauty? I think this is such an important question during Taurus season. What is truly beautiful? Yes, we can look at a beautiful piece of art or a flower in the garden. Those things are beautiful, but beauty isn't just going to be the most curated, clear-cut, clean, categorized thing all the time, is it? Beauty is different for everyone. Beauty is going to be a feeling and a state of being more than anything. And our ability to perceive beauty is based on our ability to feel it in ourselves. And I think the Knight of Cups brings us back to some of these very dreamy, altruistic places. And this moon is asking for that as well, is to offer up that cup of our hearts. And go into these spaces and ask these questions. And yes, rebel against the containers that are not holding us, that are leaving us feeling empty. But more importantly, to really go to those places where we have true askings, true desires, the desire to feel deep belonging within ourselves, the desire for deep peace, the desire for true connection, the desire for creativity that isn't just based on being pretty and polite, but is based on sharing truth and the complexity and nuance of life. The being able to relax into that complexity and nuance of life and find beauty within that. And then along with that, when we're asking, for the beautiful life we want, the sunrises and the little cottage in the field, full of poppies, I don't know, whatever you're asking is, of course, we're allowed to have those fantasies of the day-to-day life and not just these abstract concepts and states of being. Of course, we can ask for those things, but just asking for them, knowing that we don't have to bring everything with us. We don't have to bring every request. Like, ooh, I want to live in this beautiful cottage but I also want to be on the internet every day answering my boss's emails because I want to be successful. It's like we can let go of some of these things. And I think that's what this new moon is really about. It's about homing in, trimming away those things that are like little gnats that are stinging us when we're daydreaming and we don't even realize it because we've gotten so used to including it, even when we don't really mean it. And that is where the beauty of this new moon lies. I am going to be doing a activation for this new moon over on Patreon. Also, I forgot to mention, this new moon is happening like right as Jupiter is on the cusp. It's in 29 degrees of Aquarius. It will be moving into Pisces a couple of days after this new moon. And I'm also going to be covering that on Patreon, but there's also a big shift. There's a sea change going on where we're going to be working with Piscean energy a little bit more intensely in the coming months. So this Knight of Cups is also, I think, heralding in some of the dreaminess, some of the internal work that goes on when we emphasize Piscean energy. This is mystic territory. So we're going to be doing more of the mystic principles, which is working from the inside out, working from behind and from the hidden and from the non-physical as a way to be more in the physical. So we'll get into that more and more as we go ahead. I'd love to see you here. Subscribe, like. We're going to be doing a coffee and chat very, very soon. And you can also find me on Patreon and on my Instagram. So I hope to see you in all of those places. I love you guys so much, and I hope you're taking really good care of yourselves during this powerful Taurus season, during this powerful year. I'm thinking of you all, and I will talk to you all so soon. Sending you my love.